I am Adam Bell with Sublime Computer Services, and I am going to be talking about securing your PC for safe internet browsing by using a content filter. We're going to talk about K9 Web Protection as a filter. Here's the definition from their website. It is a free internet filter and parental control software for your home, Windows, or Mac computer. K9 puts you in control of the internet so you can protect your kids. There are many content filters out there. We've chosen K9 Web Protection as our recommendation for the following reasons. One, it's free. It installs on a single computer. This is a benefit because there are ways to protect your entire network, but if you have a lot of computers, it doesn't help when your children take their computers elsewhere. If they've got a laptop, they may take it to a friend's house, or they may take it to school. And at that point, if they're no longer on your network, they're able to go wherever they want to go. If you want to uninstall the software, it is protected by the software, so they are required to give an administrator password for the operating system, and then they're also required to give the K9 administrator password to install the software. The K9 is much faster than other browser content filters because I don't really know why, but it's a little bit lighter, and it seems to do its job a bit better. K9 is a proxy server, so it's going to protect all of the browsers. It's going to protect Chrome, it's going to protect Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, and other Mozilla-based browsers. It's very easy to override websites if you're an adult or a teen that needs to be able to do other work. It's going to pop up and give you a dialog box, and you're able to give it the username and give it the administrator password, and you can bypass and allow for a brief period of time where you can go onto this website, or you can allow it permanently. Another good feature is time restrictions for your kids. If you want to set it to shut off every night at 10 o'clock and allow 10 p.m. and allow them to fire up in the morning at 7, it'll easily allow for that. And also a thing to consider is if they're not administrators on their computer, they can't change that time. So rather than just simply resetting the clock, they won't be able to. There's a categorization of websites that helps you to be able to block the content. You can also choose which categories to block or allow. Okay. K9 Web Protection is a web content filter. It's a way to prevent users from going to websites that they should not. It is also a way to log all of the web activity. It gives you a timestamp of a date and a time and where all websites were traveled. It does not give you a specific user, so if you're not sure when your child was on the computer, you may not know if it was them or an adult. That is a drawback. It's also a way to help protect from scams. Scams will not, they will just get redirected as not being valid. Older children and adults, it will help them to stay away from temptation. So if they get a pop-up, they can easily know that that's not a place that they need to go. It's also a complement to your existing spyware and malware protection. It will help keep you, when you hit a site, it's going to say, no, we're not going to allow you to get malware here. While you still can override it, and this is still not a complete protection, it is going to complement your existing system. K9 is not a forensic spy tool that captures everything that's typed. It is not going to sit in the background and monitor everything that they're doing. That's not what it's designed to do. And as I said, it's not antivirus and it's not anti-spyware, but it does complement those services. Some things that K9 doesn't do that I would like it to do is I would like it to email me a log weekly. Maybe I'll submit that as a suggestion and they'll get that in there. My recommendations for running this software, your children should not be running as an administrator on their computer. It'll help keep them from installing software and also configuring system changes if they don't know how to do that. If you're running Windows XP or Windows Vista, even as an adult, I recommend that you do not run it as an administrator, that you are a standard user account, and then if you need to install software or make changes to the system, you can log in as administrator. This is because the kernel in Windows XP and Vista is not as secure as the kernel is in Windows 7, so it's much more difficult to get a virus in Windows 7. Okay. And if I mentioned any terms here that you don't quite understand, it's not going to be a problem because we're going to show you how to install the software. So now I am going to go through the process of installing the software. I'm going to start off by going to K9's website. I'm going to have to go there and request an account and download the software. So if you don't know the K9 Web Protection, you can just punch it in Google and it is going to find it. But it's K9webprotection.com. All right. So we are going to go there and we are going to, the very front page, we're going to click Free Download. And this is the point where you're going to punch in a username and password and get a license. So I'm going to punch my information in here. I'm not actually going to request a license because I've just got a new one today. Wow. And you'll punch in how you've found it, your friend's email address if they're a K9 subscriber already, and you're going to hit Submit Request License. And now you're going to receive an email that's going to have that license in it. I've already got that license, so I'm going to pull that up right now. K9 Web Protection. So we're going to grab that key right here, copy and paste that, and we are going to download the K9 Web Protection. If you'll notice here, this is the same place if you're running K9 for Windows or Mac. You can simply choose which operating system you're going to download. We are going to download Windows. We're running Windows XP, Vista, and 7 is supports. Shouldn't be too many Windows 2000 out there left. Or your Windows 97. Or not Windows 97, Windows 95. All right, so we're going to download that file. Grab our downloads here. Let's sort by date. All right, K9 Web Protection. We're going to go ahead and run that. And it's going to require us to reboot. We're going to go ahead and do that. All right, we're going to take the defaults here. There's not a whole lot of settings to choose from, but we're going to go ahead and punch in the license. And now we need to punch in the administrator key or password. You want to make sure that it's something you can remember. If you can't remember it, you can request that K9 send you the information over again, and you'll go through a reset. You have to create a new password. So now we're going to choose the install. And it is a fairly small install, so it's going to go right on through. All right, now we're going to reboot. We have now successfully rebooted. We've got the software installed. Now we're going to go into it and configure it. If you're running Windows 7, you can find it a couple ways by going to All Programs, and you're going to look for the Blue Coat K9 Web Protection, and click on the icon there, Blue Coat K9 Web Protection Admin. This is going to bring up the admin, and it's going to bring it up in your default web browser. So you may think you're going to a website, but you are going to a website, but it's local, so but you don't have to really worry about that. All right, so now we're going to go to Setup to get the initial configuration set up. This is where you're going to punch in the password that you created on the website. Okay, so we're going to start off by default and choose the web categories to block. By default, you've got the default setting here, and it's got just about everything that you want. I like to use a custom so that I can add and remove things as I need to, and you can also remove things from here if you would like to allow them. I'm going to mention one site here that's Open Image and Media Search. That may be problematic for you if you do a lot of searches for images for work or for websites. They may improperly get put into that category, and you may need to unblock that at some point, but it just kind of giving you the heads up on that. So once you've got your category set and you want to make sure that you're blocking, say you don't want social media, social networking, you want Facebook, MySpace, that kind of thing to be blocked, you would add this as a category, and once you're done, you're going to click Save, And now you've got your categories here. And just to clarify, all of these categories are going to be blocked. If somebody goes to a website and wants to find information about alcohol, they are not going to be allowed to do that. Time restrictions. Now, right now we're set up as unrestricted. That means we can get on the internet at any point during the day. You can access it. For children, you're most likely going to want to set a night guard, and that's where you check from a period to shut it off, from a period to bring it back on. That means they won't be able to browse the internet. It's not going to shut down their computer, but they won't be able to get on the internet. If you want to have a custom schedule where your kids can stay online longer for Friday night and Saturday night, you can set that here. So I'm going to set that back to unrestricted so we don't have any conflict while we're setting this here. Website exceptions. This is where you're going to add websites to block or always allow. For example, I set the social websites that you can't get to, but let's say that I do want to allow Facebook. My child is allowed to go to Facebook. We can go in here, put facebook.com, and choose add, and now it's in the list. And it's very easy to remove from the list by simply clicking the X, then they go away. So I'm going to put that back in. You'll have a few exceptions in there when you start using it and add them. They're going to be in this list if you have added a site and you need to remove it. Okay, blocking effects. This is what happens when the website is blocked. If you, one thing I like, you may uncheck the bark when blocked, but I just think it's kind of amusing right now. But it'll play a sound every time K9 blocks a website. Show the admin options. This here is going to give you the option of when you come up on a website that is blocked, you will have the ability to override it. If you don't want that option to show up at all, you would uncheck this here. If you're going to enable timeout, that means by default it's set here. If there are 10 blocked pages within 10 minutes, if somebody keeps hitting the same website 10 times within 10 minutes, it's going to deny their web access for a total of 10 minutes. You want to be real careful when you're setting this feature because you may inadvertently block yourself out. You may want to increase the blocked pages to say maybe 20, because if you're on a site that's got a number of frames, you may get a whole bunch of blocks all at once, and your child may accidentally be blocked out and they not intended to. And you may not be around to restore it. So I'm going to leave that, make it bark, save that setting. URL keywords. In URL keywords, this is where you can put in a single word, and if that word shows up in a website, it is going to be blocked. I'm not going to put anything in there right now, but I just want to make you aware of that. Safe search. Whenever you're doing a search, whether it's these are the search engines that K9 works with: Google, MSN Bing, Yahoo, YouTube, Ask, and Flickr. Most browsers, or most search engines rather, use these engines as part of their search engine. So it's going to put you in the safe search mode by default. So when you do a search, it's going to not get adult content. Go ahead and choose to redirect the K9 safe search, and then force the safe search here. So we're going to save that. And all of these settings can be easily, if you set something and it doesn't respond the way you want, you're just going to come back into this menu, uncheck it, and save it. We're not going to update to beta here in the advanced features. It's just not you want to run on the current acceptable version that's out there. We do want to filter secure traffic. When you go to your bank, for example, that is considered secure traffic, and it's going to have a little lock down in the corner. We want to make sure to get that traffic as well. If you need to change your password or if you need to change your email, this is where you're going to do it. You can check the status of your K9 software to see if it is up to date or if it needs to be updated, or if there's a later version out there. Right now we're running the latest version, so we are good. So now everything is set, and we should be ready to start blocking. So I'm going to click the website here that we know is going to be blocked. All right, now it barked at us. So it's going to tell us right here what website was blocked. and why it was blocked. It falls under the category of pornography and suspicious. If, for example, this was not pornography or not suspicious, you would choose to allow this site, and then you could choose it for a time, or you can choose it for permanently, and it's going to ask for your password. I'm not going to allow that right now. But you can also allow these categories. So if you're constantly being blocked by a category that's keeping you from getting to where you go, as we talked about with open images, you can allow that category for a period of time. Now, if you would like to, if this website was improperly categorized, in this case, it's not improperly categorized, you could request from K9, send a request to K9 to review this site, and they will look at it and say, okay, yes, this is properly categorized, or it is not. And then here you can change your settings, back into your settings if you want to try to fix this, and it's going to ask for your password to be able to do that. Okay, so we are going to go back into the settings, and we're going to take a look at the logs so you can see what this looks like. Okay, so we are going to go to View Internet Activity. And here we can see, because this is just a short period of data here, but you can show where we've been, and we've also show the categories that you're blocking. You see how they're in the green are ones that you're not blocking, red are ones that you are. So we're going to, if you click on it, it is going to tell you the timestamp of when this was blocked. It's going to tell you the reason it was blocked, and it's going to tell you the URL. But as I stated earlier, it doesn't give you, if multiple people are using this computer, it's not going to tell you who was using this computer, but you should know based on the time of day. So we'll go back here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what mine looks like after over 90 days of use. Okay.
I'll set out the mic.
Okay. All right. So right here we've got over 90 days of use, lots of hits, lots of URL requests, and you'll notice down here at the bottom there are still categories that have been blocked. Normal web browsing is going to pull up these sites. What you're looking for is, had I been going to legitimate hacking sites and really surfing and really being blocked, you would see more than one hit. So you don't necessarily have to be concerned about these down here beyond just normal. You want to be reasonable in your concerns there. Because if you got 9 pornography hits or 11 over 90 days, you can tell that your child is not surfing for it. They're accidentally coming across it. All right, in conclusion, this is the K9 web protection and filtering system. As you can see, it's not difficult to install, and it's not difficult to administer. It's also not going to bog down your system, and whether you're a child or whether you're a teen or an adult, you will find the content filtering useful.